Ladies and gentlemen.
Take a look at how self-service works within Jamf School, utilising both the Jamf Teacher and Jamf Student applications that would be assigned to both teachers and students. Now, it works a little bit different, obviously, because Jamf School is education focused, so the Jamf Teacher and Jamf Student tools act as an additional opportunity for that in-classroom teaching and learning focused use of the devices, and self-service just sits perfectly well within those applications for teachers and students to be able to access any applications they want. Self-service within Jamf Pro works slightly differently because it's not necessarily an education focused tool. So self-service just is a standalone self-service, and self-service plus works in that same way to make sure end users can download and update their applications. So let's just take a look at the process. First of all, you need to make sure that you have groups set up. So within device groups, you're going to want to make sure, and I'm sure that people have this already, you're going to have groups for different things, different classes, students, teachers, admins, whoever it might be. But fundamentally, this is how you're going to assign those applications to the device in various different ways. So device groups is an important step. Let's take a look at the process of doing it. So within the apps, I can go into my inventory. There are different ways you can do this to bulk put lots of apps on. I'm just going to show the process. There's a couple of things that you just need to make sure you have in place. If I go into this app, for example, you'll see that there's all my configuration that I can get set up, but then also I have the device groups. This is the bit we just mentioned. You need to make sure that you assign it to a specific group so it ends up on that device through a couple of different ways. You'll see on the screen here, you can have it as automatic or you can have it as on demand. On demand is self-service, automatic is all the apps that I want you to have on your device regardless. It's not necessarily a choice. On demand is the choice. This is where they'll show up in either Jamf Teacher or in Jamf Student, obviously depending on who you're assigning them to. So let's look at the process from the very start. Let's find an application that I don't currently have assigned to any of the devices. So let's just go with Google Docs, for example. In here, again, you may have other setups that you want to do within your options, but I'm just going to choose this to go to teachers. So I'm going to find them as that device group. At the moment, it goes automatic, so I want to change that. So I can click on the cog, change to on demand, and tap save. Now again, you can do this in bulk. You might have a whole profile of different applications you can do. Same processes there, but fundamentally, just make sure that you've either got it on demand or if you want it to be automatic on device, obviously you click on device automatically. Make sure it's saved. And then I'm going to jump to the teacher device so you can see how that looks on a teacher device. This is the same for a student as well. It'll show up in the same place within the student app as well. On the teacher device, so this is Dave Hawkins' device that's been assigned to him by the school. He's in that teacher group. He uses this obviously for more than just his self-service. This is obviously how he controls his classes as well. And please do check out the other Jamf Teacher videos so you can see how he can manage his students' devices through the same process if you haven't already checked that. But you can see under library, we have access to fundamentally what self-service does, which is provide him with access to his resources, request apps, support with any app updates, any of those other things. So if he has requested apps either for himself or for his students, they'll show up here and it will show the process, whether it's been approved, declined or pending. Any updates he might have sit here. So again, he can update his device in his own time. But again, IT can push those updates should they want them to automatically be updated. And then in the resources section, you'll see that Google Docs is now available as a resource for him to download whenever he needs to. So he's now got it on there, and the get button obviously would start the process of downloading it. You can also get access to documents and profiles through this same process. So this is the self-service element, giving your end users opportunities. Works the same within Jamf Student. So in Jamf Student, they still have their resources. There are some other things you can do within student application as well and put them into groups, and it can show up on the screen in slightly different ways, so they can have collections of apps for different subjects, etc. Lots of education focused uses of how you can set up self-service for students. But the critical thing here is self-service through Jamf School works through the Jamf Teacher and Jamf Student applications set up in Jamf School as we showed you before, or in unique ways that you may want to get those apps onto devices.